We knew God, the Creator. In our various languages, we gave him name. Every tribe have a name given to this God, the Creator. In my language, we named him Yenu. So we knew Yenu without knowing the Bible, without knowing Israel. We knew other gods, and we gave them names also. We worship and honor these gods long before Abraham was born. One day, Abraham came and introduced another God to us, Jehovah Elohim, God of Israel. Should we just accept the claims made by this God that he, Jehovah Elohim, is the creator God that we know, or we should verify, assess, and judge to see whether the claims made by this God is true or not? So we are looking at this matter, taking various factors into consideration. We can't just judge by one factor alone. So in part 3 of this series, we were looking at the powers of Jehovah Elohim, God of Israel, to find out whether the powers exhibited by this God is enough for us to judge that he is actually the creator. And we came to the conclusion that though he did miracles, but these miracles, some of these miracles, we know human beings also do them. And other gods also do miracles. Other deities and demons also do miracles. So we cannot judge only with miracles performed by Jehovah Elohim. So we have to look at it with other factors. We also saw that the miracles performed by Jehovah Elohim, though mighty miracles in the eyes of we the humans, but if we look at the forces of nature, if we look at the powers that already exist in nature, if we look at the powers of God the Creator that we knew, then if we compare that power of God the Creator we knew to the powers to the powers exhibited by this Jehovah Elohim, then the Jehovah Elohim powers become small. And we set an example that he creating a rock, he making a rock to bring out water in the desert, doesn't mean that he created all the rivers on this earth, let alone all the planets and trillions of stars. So we can't just use the powers that he exhibited and come to conclusion that, oh, because he was able to turn Moses' rod into a snake, he is the creator. That will be very short-sighted. So we'll have to look at other factors of God the Creator and judge the matter whether this God who is introducing himself to Abraham is actually the creator or not. So today we are going to look at another qualities of God the Creator, which is omniscience, the omniscience of God. Omniscience is the quality of God, God the Creator. Other gods, small and big, also have some degree of omniscience. Demons also have some degree of omniscience, because somebody can summon a demon in America and the demon will appear there. Another will summon the same demon in Africa and the demon will appear there. Another will summon the same demon in China and that demon will appear there, which means that even demons have some degree of omniscience, that wherever they are mentioned, wherever they are summoned, they are there to hear and to act upon it. River gods, small streams here in my country have gods, and gods of these rivers respond wherever their name is mentioned. If you take a bottle of snap and you mention the names of these deities, they respond and they act, and we all have evidence, clear evidence of these gods acting wherever they are summoned. So the Creator, God the Creator, his level of omniscience should surpass all these lesser gods. The level of omniscience of God the Creator should surpass all demons because he created all of them. So his level of omniscience should be very, very high. So if a God comes, if Abraham introduces a God to us called Jehovah Elohim, God of Israel, and claim that this God of Israel is the creator of this universe, then we expect him to be the most omniscient God and nothing else. So now the question we are going to ask today is Jehovah Elohim, God of Israel, omniscience? For us to answer this question, we have to go into the Bible right from the beginning of the Bible, straight into the Garden of Eden. Let's find out what happened. I will not be doing much reading. I don't want the video to be too long. But let's look at the story of Adam and Eve and ask ourselves whether this God who claimed that he created heaven and earth, whether he was omniscient and whether he is omniscient today. If he is not omniscient, then he is not God. He is not God at all. He is just like me. But if he is omniscient, then it means he has some level of consciousness. It doesn't necessarily mean that he is God the creator. No. Being omniscient does not necessarily mean God the creator. As I said, demons even have some level of omniscience. But at least being omniscient is a sign that he is a God of some sort. So we are going to look at it, whether this God was omniscient or not. So what happened in the Garden of Eden? This God, according to his own story, planted a Garden of Eden and placed Adam and Eve, the first human beings he created, in that garden. And then planted a tree of knowledge of good and evil in that garden. And instructed Adam and Eve not to eat from that tree, but Adam and Eve ate it because the snake, a serpent, came into the garden and encouraged them to eat it. They ate the fruit, and the consequences of it was that this God sacked them or dismissed them from that Garden of Eden to go and toil outside of the garden. And he cursed them with suffering and diseases and a whole lot of things. For the detailed story, you can read from Genesis chapter 1 up to chapter 3. So this is what happened in that garden. They ate the fruit that this God told them not to eat, and they were banished from the Garden of Eden. And God cursed them. And according to these same Bible stories, it is the curse of this God that we humans are all suffering today. So the question is, was God omniscient or not? He was either omniscient or not. And if he was omniscient, then when he was planting the tree in the Garden of Eden, he knew very well that Adam and Eve were going to eat it. Because being an omniscience makes you knowledgeable. You know the end from the beginning. Being omniscient makes you to know the future. You know what will happen in the future. So it means that if you are omniscient, you know the consequences of your actions. So this omniscient God, or he was not omniscient God, he was just an ordinary being. But if he was omniscient, then he knew right from the beginning when he was going to plant that tree in the garden, that Adam and Eve were going to eat it. If he is omniscient, he knew that Adam and Eve were going to eat it. If he is omniscient, then he knew very well from the beginning that the snake was going to convince Adam and Eve to eat the tree. So, why did he plant the tree in the middle of the garden? This was a brand new earth. No other human being existed apart from only these two humans, Adam and Eve. No country, no town, no city, no village anywhere. So why did he choose to plant that tree in the middle of the garden where Adam and Eve were dwelling? Somebody say, oh, he wanted to test them and see. No. Being an omniscience, you don't have to test anybody, because if you are omniscience and you are going to test somebody, being an omniscience, you know the result of the test. If you are omniscient being, you are going to tempt me, you are going to test me, you know right from the beginning whether I'm going to pass the test or not. So omniscient don't have to test anything. It is we humans who don't know what somebody is thinking. It's we humans who don't know the mind of other people. So we have to test them to see their mind. By being an omniscient God, you know the mind of the people. You know the mind of everybody. You know the thought of everybody. So he knows the thought of the snake. So at the very beginning, when the snake plotted to go into the garden, this God, being an omniscient, should have known. At the very beginning, when he was planting the tree, being an omniscient, should have known that Adam and Eve were going to eat that tree. So why did he plant it there? And he knew that if they eat the tree, he is going to curse them. And he knew they were going to eat it. So he intentionally planted the tree, knowing they are going to eat it. He planted it. The snake planned to go and influence them to eat the tree. And this God, knowing the thought of everybody, knowing the thought of the snake, knew the snake was going there, but did nothing. He waited for the snake. We waited for the snake to go and convince them. And when they were about to eat it, he didn't intervene. He kept quiet and waited for them to eat that tree before he came and cursed them. Only two things is sure here. He is either not omniscient God and didn't know what was going on, or he is omniscient God but wicked God. He is either a wicked God who wanted to destroy mankind and punish them and curse them, or he was not omniscient. If he was omniscient, then he was wicked. If he was not omniscient, so let's look at that one also, that he was not omniscient. And when he was planting the tree, he didn't know that Adam and Eve would eat it. And he didn't know that the snake was going into the garden in the first place. Yes. So let's assume that he didn't know that the snake was going to convince them. And if he didn't know that the snake was going to convince them, then he's not omniscient. And if he's not omniscient, then even the lesser gods and demons are better than him. And if he is omniscient, then he's wicked than the demons. He's wicked than the serpent that he's blaming. And even if he's not omniscient, he's reckless. Why am I saying if he's not omniscient, he's reckless? Because me as a human being, I'm not omniscient. And since I'm not omniscient, I will not go and put poison, which looks like fruit juice, on my dining table where my children eat. I've said it and I'm saying it again. I will not do it. Why do you plant that tree in the garden when you do not want them to eat it? If you know that if they eat this thing, they are going to die, why did you plant it in the garden in the first place? That is recklessness. It's like putting a poison that looks like fruit juice on your dining table and telling your children not to eat it, and only to come and realize that your children have eaten the poison and they are dying. And then instead of taking responsibility of being negligent, you rather curse the children. Which loving father will do that? And yet, pastors are making noise and claiming that this is a loving God who put poison on your dining table and dining table of his children. No loving father will do that. I will not do that. I will not put any deadly thing near my children, especially if that deadly thing looks like an edible thing. And if you are testing them and your omniscience, then if you are testing them, you know very well that they are going to fail the test and they are going to eat it. So you intentionally permit them to eat it. And if you are not omniscient, you are even negligent and irresponsible. Because if you are responsible, you have known that, yes, I made a mistake by putting this poison near their dining table. So let me take it away so that they don't touch it again. You don't have to go about cursing them and blaming them. And when you talk, the Christians will start making noise. Yes, if he is God, he should have known better than me, a human being. And I would not have taken that reckless action. So why is it that the God shouldn't have even known better, even if he's not omniscient? Me, I'm not omniscient, yes, but if I don't want them to eat that tree, I have the whole earth to myself. I can plant it anywhere, 1,000 kilometers away from them. If I don't want them to ever eat it, I will take it away. Even if I want them to eat it in the future, then I will wait. If the time comes for them to eat it before I bring the tree and plant it in that garden for them to eat it. But as long as I do not want them to eat it, I will not even let them see the tree. I will plant it far away from them. So if he recklessly plant the tree in the middle of garden and telling them not to eat it and they found themselves eating it, why didn't he take responsibility but rather decide to curse them? So this God, if he is omniscient, then he is a wicked God. And if he is not omniscient, he is a reckless and irresponsible God. Nothing else. Let's go into the Bible and read from Genesis chapter 6, verse 6. And it repenteth the Lord that he had made man on the earth, and it grieved him at his heart. And the Lord said, I will destroy man, whom I have created from the face of the earth, both man and beast, and the creeping things, and the fowls of the air, for it repenteth me that I have made them. Here, God is showing a sign of repentance. God showing a sign of repentance. And the question is he omniscient? We humans, we don't know the consequences of our actions. So we show repentance of our actions. I will do something today without knowing the consequences of my action. Tomorrow, I experience the consequences of my actions and I regret taking that action. But if I'm omniscient, every action that I take, I know the consequences of my actions. And if I know the consequences of my actions and I take them anyway, which means I've accepted that consequence and I will show no regret because I know the consequences already before I took them. So God grieving here, God showing remorse and repentance here, God regretting his actions here is a sign that he, God, is not omniscient. This is another sign that this Jehovah Elohim that Abraham is introducing to us as God the Creator is not omniscient because he has taken an action without knowing the consequences of his action and is now showing regret and remorse and repentance here in Genesis chapter 6, verse 6 and 7. So there's no need to waste time on this. It's a clear sign that he is not omniscient. And if he's not omniscient, and even lesser gods have some level of omniscience, then he is even lower than the lesser gods that he claimed to have created. As a wise man, if some people are doing evil and I identify the one who is influencing them to do the evil, and I want to eliminate the evil, what will I do? I will first of all eliminate the one who is influencing the people to do the evil. That is what, as a wise man, I will do. As a wise man, me, as a wise man, I will eliminate whoever is influencing the people to do the evil. But this God is saying here in Genesis chapter 6, verse 7, that he will destroy man rather and leave the Satan or devil or the serpent or whatever you call it, who is influencing the people to do the evil. What wisdom is this God having to think that he will eliminate the human beings and leave the one who is influencing them to do the evil? How wise is he to think this way of eliminating the followers and leave the devil for him to continue influencing anybody he brings to this earth? How wise is this God? So first of all, in the Garden of Eden, we saw that this God shows a level of negligence and irresponsibility. And here is this God again saying that he is going to wipe out all human beings. And according to this story, he actually created a flood and wiped out all the human beings, but left the one influencing them and left only few righteous people for them to be again influenced by the same serpent. So he is not only reckless and irresponsible, he is also unwise, or he's afraid of the devil. If you are not afraid of the devil, then the first person to target is the devil. Eliminate him first, even before if you would think of eliminating the followers of that devil. Then you go before eliminating the followers. But you can't eliminate the followers and leave the leader and bring another set of people for him to come and again influence into sin. This is foolishness. This is foolishness. Unless you are telling me that this God is afraid of the devil, so he cannot do anything to the devil. He can only kill the followers and leave him because he can't touch the devil. If he can't touch the devil, fine, I agree. So don't tell me that this God has power over the devil if he cannot touch the devil but only have to kill people and blame the devil for influencing them. If you are blaming the devil for influencing the people to do evil, then eliminate the devil first before eliminating the people. If you even eliminate the people at all. Because any wise person will eliminate the devil first and see if he can change the people. And if he fails to change the people before he will even think of eliminating the people. But the first person to eliminate is the devil here. It will be foolish action to go and eliminate the people and leave the devil unless you are afraid of the devil. Finish. So either this God is afraid of the devil or he's foolish. Finish. Let us go into the Bible and read from Genesis chapter 18, verse 20. Genesis chapter 18, verse 20. And the Lord said, because the cry of Sodom and Gomorrah is great, and because their sin is very grievous, I will go down now and see whether they have done altogether according to the cry of it, which is come unto me, and if not, I will know. So here, God is saying that he has heard report about Sodom and Gomorrah, and their sins are very great. They are committing grievous sins. So here God is coming down to go to Sodom and Gomorrah to investigate the matter and find out whether they have done according to the report that he has received. This is a sign that this God is not omniscient. He's just doing it like just humans would do. If I receive a report about a city, that this city, there's a lot of crime going on there, there's a lot of wickedness going on there, then I have to go to the city to investigate to find out whether it is true or not. And this is the same thing this God was doing in Genesis chapter 18, verse 20. And if you read from verse 1, that if you read from Genesis chapter 18, verse 1, you will see that this God was actually trekking. He trekked on foot with dusty feet and came to the house of Abraham, and Abraham gave him water to wash his feet before he gave him food to eat. After eating the food, then he continued his trek to Sodom and Gomorrah. So he trekked on his feet to Sodom and Gomorrah to investigate the matter in Sodom and Gomorrah. So if he's omniscient God, why should an omniscient God trek on the ground and walk on the ground on his feet to Sodom and Gomorrah to go and do investigating to find out whether they are evil or not? How come? Omniscient God trekking on foot to go and investigate Sodom and Gomorrah and find out the evil report that he has received, whether it is true or not. Is he omniscient God or not? This is a clear sign that, yes, he is not omniscient as he claimed to be. Read the whole Genesis chapter 18 and you understand the story fully. That he trekked on his foot, walked on the ground to go to Sodom and Gomorrah to investigate the evil report about Sodom and Gomorrah. So he is not omniscient as he claimed to be. And he was just doing it just like an ordinary man would do. So this is another sign that this God is not omniscient. In Exodus chapter 32, this God, Jehovah Elohim, invited Moses to the mountain. And as I said earlier, he was a mountain-dwelling God. So Moses went to the mountain and kept long for several days without returning. The people became anxious, and after some time, they assumed Moses was dead. So, and Moses was the one who is communicating with this God. They were not communicating with God. Only Moses was communicating with this God. And this God that is leading them from Egypt to whatever promised land, and they don't even know where the promised land is. So out of agitation and anxieties, they decided that they should make another God. So Aaron created another God for them. And when Aaron created another God for them, Jehovah got the report and became very angry, and then sent Moses back to go to the people. Moses came back with anger and gave some of the people sword to destroy others who have made the God, who have worshipped the God. This is a summary of the story. So the people were destroyed. Actually, this God wanted to go and wipe out all the people. If you read the whole story, you will see that Moses showed a sign of maturity than this God. Because this God wanted to wipe out all the people, and Moses said that if you go and kill all these people, what will the Egyptians say? They will say that out of mischief and wickedness, you took them from Egypt so that you bring them into the desert and destroy all of them. So Moses was able to persuade this God to stop the destruction of the people. But even that, over 3,000 people died. So if this God was so furious and wanted to destroy the entire Israelites without leaving only Moses, where was he? When the people were agitating that Moses is dead, and he is dead and gone with his God, and that they have no God again, so let us look for another God. Where was he? You call Moses. Moses promised the people, oh, I'm going. Next week I'll be back. And next week he's not back. Following week he's not back. Third week, fourth week, fifth week. So many weeks passed. Moses is not coming back. I don't know how long it lasted anyway. But it was long overdue, and the people were agitated that, oh, Moses brought us out with his God, and now Moses and his God is gone. So what do we do? Let's look for another God. So they went and looked for another God. So the question is, when they were agitating all around, why didn't he release Moses to go? Because omniscient God would have known that the people are agitating. They think that Moses is dead and gone with his God. So let me release Moses to go and calm the nerves down. But he didn't. But he waited and waited until they looked for another God to replace him before he got angry and went to destroy all of them. And Moses had to use his persuasion skills to persuade this God to stay away from destroying the entire Israelite. Was he omniscient? This is another sign that he was not omniscient. In conclusion, omniscience is the quality of the gods. Most gods have some level of omniscience, and we expect God the Creator, who created all these lesser gods, to have the highest level of omniscience. But looking at the passages that we've just read in the Bible, we've seen Jehovah Elohim, the Christian God, the Bible God, the God of Israel, exhibiting a very low level of omniscience, if any at all. We see that he seems not to know what is going around him. In the Garden of Eden, he didn't know what was going on. Something happens before he takes reactionary measures, which means that he didn't know what was going on. We see him reacting with anger and acting like a street bully with a weapon of destruction. Moses had to persuade him with his persuasion skills in order to stop the destruction of Israel. So if he knew what was going on, he would not be acting in this manner. But all other gods show some level of omniscience, but the level of omniscience of Jehovah seems to be lower than even these lesser gods that we know. So we can conclude that this Jehovah Elohim that Abraham is introducing to us lacks omniscience and can therefore not be considered as God the Creator. But we are not just judging with one factor. We will look at other factors as well in our next part 5. So in part 5, we will be looking at another factor, which is love, mercy, and compassion. Is he a God of love? Is he God of mercy? Is he God of forgiveness? Subscribe to this channel so that you will receive notification when that part is also released. Until then, stay blessed.